You don't know what is really motivating them. That's what political science is, not what is state, what is the definition of it, what did Plato say. All right, you learn all that. But if you don't understand your democracy, your elections, your voting registration, your problems, your legal framework, your practical implications, what incentives are distorting what outcomes.
True.
If you don't understand that, what kind of political scientist are you? You take any field, you see this pattern repeating itself everywhere.
Now coming to policy. Policy makers and the recipients or the result of that policy. Who makes the policies and for whom are the policies? Is there a connect?
Now, to be fair, I think some serious thinking does go at least at some level, particularly at the national level. The Planning Commission, some of the departments of government and some other para-governmental agencies, they do work very hard. A lot of intellectual capital is put into that and they work hard. But I think there are three serious disconnects. One, the socialist disconnect. The notion that the state should control and the people don't know a thing. Right from the beginning, we bungled. Until there is a mid-course correction in some respects, some flaws continuing, all kinds of things. But basically, while I do all the thinking, all the planning, I have a very compassionate heart. I am a very generous and warm-hearted human being. But I basically believe that you are you deserve help. You're a nice person, but you're useless. You depend on me. There is genuine belief for a long time. That did a lot of damage to the country. Two, what we discussed earlier, the decentralization.
Okay.
And three, great policy without measuring outcomes, without having the course correction will not help. We have a national sample survey, a great organization. It's a match for the best in the world, I can guarantee you. But it only gives you an aggregate picture. What you require for correction and improvement is disaggregate picture with sufficient granularity so that you measure at each stage what's happening. Like the PISA survey measures actually the real educational outcomes at the age of 15 in each country. No excuses, no nothing. I don't care how many people are enrolled, how many people are not. I'm not bothered about all that. At the age of 15, a kid at school, what is she learning? Period. Measure in a quantitative manner, in an absolutely objective manner, and then draw conclusions and change policies. Until today, we have never done it in India. When we talk about it, we spent so much money, or so many kids are enrolled. We think it's a huge improvement. What enrollment? On paper, you have those names. I go to any number of schools where there are permanent leave letters of some teachers available, undated. The moment you go there, they date it or something and they give to you. The fellows who are absent that day. What kind of enrollment is that?
So policy,
what we require is outcomes.
True, absolutely. So policy and program are organic. They are growing constantly, and they continue. And that's only when you have the mid-course correction.
Absolutely.
But somewhere, course correction is seen as having faulted. Is that true?
If you, as a public servant, are really true to yourself, and if you recognize that, look, this approach didn't really succeed well, and therefore this correction is required, I don't think that anybody paid a price. Therefore, this complaint that no, if we actually owned up to some mistakes and the need for improvements, we would be victimized is overstated, in my opinion. We have given our bureaucracy more security than anywhere else in the world. No country, a democracy or dictatorship, has given such oppressive, enormous security to bureaucracy. Even if you're caught with a smoking gun, unless you actually can produce evidence in a court of law and convict the fellow, even if you're caught with a smoking gun, you cannot be thrown out of a job in this country.
So why are there areas where decision making is a casualty?
See, there is a huge asymmetry in this country between the citizen and even the lowest level public servant. I'm not talking about IAS, Babu, or a police superintendent or chief secretary or somebody. I'm talking of a clerk in a taluk office, a tehsil office, versus a citizen. The clerk or a peon, or whatever we call these days, messenger or whatever, is probably better off and more influential than 90% of the people of the country. On top of it, we have created a relationship of patron and client. The master is made a mendicant, and the public servant is now made a benefactor. The roles are completely reversed. In that situation, why do I feel accountable? Who asked me to be accountable? who enforced accountability. The system becomes a permanent priesthood, wedded to its own values, dedicated to its own goals. The people become incidental. They are actually a nuisance. You have to endure. They are not the reason for existence. Mahatma Gandhi, about the customer, in a different context, said something eloquent, something beautiful only Gandhiji was capable of saying. We forgot the simple thing about our masters. They are not merely customers. They are our masters. They are the reason for our existence. They are the ones who pay us the taxes. They are the ones who elect us or put us in positions of office. They are the masters. And our view truly is that they are mendicants.
I sense a very strong sense of optimism. What is it about us that keeps you optimistic about us, our democracy, our people?
There are two broad things. One, actually we have done pretty well in the past 65 years. All this angst, all this concern is because we haven't done as well as we could have.
Okay.
But it would be utterly churlish for us to say that we haven't done well at all. Look at the past 65 years. I mean, if you forget yourself here and if you look at it from a distance objectively, it's a phenomenal thing that's going on. This is the world's greatest experiment in participative democracy. A multilingual country of this dimension, a country of 5,000 years of civilization, a country of every conceivable race, religion, caste, region, language, actually had the audacity to say we will be one nation, transcending every possible barrier that was very natural. And we succeeded. 540 princely states were integrated in about 20-25 months of time with hardly a bullet fired. Only in the state of Hyderabad, bullets were fired in the police action, and even there only 5 soldiers of Indian Army died. Several more people from the Razakars and others died, and Nizam's policemen died, but only 5 soldiers of Indian Army. That's all the loss of life in this extraordinary, unprecedented, historic enterprise of integration of Indian states. Compare that with Germany, 39 states of the same language, culture, skin color, race, religion, everything. It required huge bloodshed and blood and iron, and 9 years of intense effort by Bismarck and others to unify. Take Italy, just 9 princely states of same language, same religion, same skin color, same history, same religion, same culture, civilization, everything. 23 years of intense effort. And then the way we built federalism. You go to Sri Lanka, just 2 languages, Sinhala and Tamil. Every other day, for 30 years, there was so much of bloodshed and violence. Only now they're trying to recover the pieces. Even now, the reverberations are felt. You look at Pakistan. Pakistan broke up because of the cultural and linguistic differences, ultimately. Look at Belgium. Belgium is a tiny country, rich country, but they're not able to accommodate these 2 groups, the Flemish people speaking Dutch language and the French-speaking people, and they're not able to form a government, a tiny country. It's just probably equal to about 2 or 3 small towns in India. Or look at Canada, a rich country, a big country, though population-wise small. One province of Quebec, another language they're not able to accommodate. In India, multilingual country, a strong federalism, we're able to coexist. And we did achieve some modest level of economic growth. We retained our freedom. So there's great progress made, but we could do a lot more. There's absolutely no reason for cynicism. The second level is the reasons we discussed earlier, the young people, the love for knowledge in this country, strong families and institutions in this country, the cultural and the institutional strength, the traditional strength in our country. We have phenomenal strengths. But we could do a lot better if we set our house in order in terms of governing institutions and politics, and if we focused on education and health care, and if we allowed a political system to develop where the best and the brightest, the people who actually ought to lead us and serve us, they actually can get elected. Today, they simply cannot get elected. This is not right.
Dr. Jayaprakash, when we got independence, there was this desire to gain freedom, which was a kind of a glue which spread across the country, and social action was a huge issue, was at the center of most lives. How do we bring social action back to the center of all our relationships?
Gauraji, we had it throughout history. If India survived millennia of invasion and all kinds of adversity, it's because the villages were actually self-governing republics and people took care of the community. It was the part of our life. The village was everything. We killed it. In democratic India, particularly in the past 30, 40 years, after 1960s and 70s, We killed it. We have to now restore it by empowering the communities and bringing back that original spirit. But in addition, there is one great opportunity for us. As people are exposed to what's happening elsewhere in the world, as all of us are discussing this, with the rise of the 24-hour satellite television communications, there's much that is wrong in that, but there's also much that is very good in that. And people start comparing, and if in Gujarat something is happening, AP something is happening, Maharashtra something is happening, Delhi something is happening, why can't I do here? Or if in America, or Britain, China, Japan, we keep discussing and debating. These things have a value.
True. And
as economically people become more and more prosperous, there is one theory that if the per capita income in purchasing power terms rises to about $5,000, then suddenly all kinds of democratic urges and community participation, social action will happen.
This is Maslow's theory of
so India is now reaching the absolutely as the rising expectations and hierarchy of needs. India is now slowly coming to that level. Well, we are not anywhere near that in terms of per capita income, but our purchasing power is actually much more than the per capita income. Per capita income probably is about 80 or 90,000 rupees today at nominal rupee value. That makes it about $1,500 or thereabout. But actually the purchasing power is easily 3 to 4 times. So we are now tantalizingly close to that.
Okay.
Because of inequality, not everybody is at that level, yes, but the per capita income is reaching that level. So suddenly a lot of people who earlier ignored all these things are now willing to look at this. I see many young people at a relatively young age are willing to say, look, I have done something enough to sustain me in my life. My country or my society or my city or a particular sector, they are all as important as my own life. Let me do something. I am so encouraged by that. I'm in awe of these people who are willing to sacrifice so much. The other day, a colleague, 2 colleagues actually, who were in the United States, having fabulous careers, plenty of money to be made, honestly, good life. They gave it all up, shut down shop, came back to India, said, we will work here, knowing full well the complexities and the pitfalls, not expecting any dramatic returns today. You see thousands of people like that who are willing to now do that. Earlier it was unthinkable.
So you see a critical mass of intent.
It's now intent which is actually getting translated into action and an infrastructure in terms of ideas, in terms of communication, in terms of technology and money coming together. Therefore, I think we are now on the verge of a very, very big change, a momentous change. And if we harness this energy rightly, and if we give some encouragement to this, that yes, it's worthwhile doing it, I think in a few years, not in 1 generation or 2, but in a few years, India will truly fulfill potential. We will see a dramatic change in the country. Once you reach the tipping point, you don't have to have incremental change, it will be a dramatic change. I believe we are close to that.
Wonderful. So harness this energy and be participating in it.
Absolutely.
Become a part of it.
Absolutely.
I think this is a wonderfully optimistic note. Thank you so much, Dr. Jayaprakash, for coming to
My
our
pleasure.
show. It was a delight speaking with you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
लड़कों को कैसे करें इम्प्रेस? स्टाइलिश न्यू हेयरकट, एक्सपेंसिव ड्रेस, पर बजट है कम, पॉकेट मनी ऑलमोस्ट खत्म। 5 रुपए है क्या? 5 रुपए में क्या होगा? 5 रुपए में अब मिलता है प्रिय गोल्ड बार बाय बिस्किट।
आइसक्रीम खाएगी?
आइसक्रीम, ये है डबल आनंद। पहला आनंद पॉलिसी टर्म के अंत पर मैच्योरिटी क्लेम का पूरा भुगतान, और दूसरा आपके अपनों के लिए लाइफ कवर की पूरी रकम बिना किसी प्रीमियम के। LIC जीवन आनंद, आनंद ही आनंद।
अंकल, एक ओरल बी शाइनी क्लीन टूथब्रश दीजिए।
हाँ, ये लीजिए ओरल बी शाइनी क्लीन, जेड शेप्ड सॉफ्ट ब्रिसल्स और टंग क्लीनर के साथ, सिर्फ 14 रुपए में। और ज्यादातर डेंटिस्ट भी ओरल बी टूथब्रश ब्रांड का ही सुझाव देते हैं। ओरल बी शाइनी क्लीन टूथब्रश।
TNG